Hi, I'm Serena Briles. I'm your host of the Pottery channel, and we're filming this evening in beautiful Asheboro, North Carolina, and we have visiting with us Will McCandless from McCandless Pottery. Hi, how are you this evening?
Doing great, thanks.
Wonderful. Great to have you with us.
It's great to be here.
He has a shop in Seagrove, North Carolina, and you want to tell us how we can reach you and how we can see more than what we're going to see this evening?
Absolutely. I have two locations in the Seagrove area. One in downtown Little Seagrove, North Carolina at 213 East Main Street. And I have another location on Pottery Highway 705 at 634 NC Highway 705. That's a 27341 zip code for both. You can email me at contact@mccandlesspottery.com, or you can go to my website at www.mccandlesspottery.com. My phone number is 336-879-3610.
And throughout the show, we'll keep reminding you of the phone number and the email so that you can reach him. And just to familiarize you a little bit, Seagrove and Asheboro are sort of in the middle of the state, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Seagrove is a small town in the middle of the state, and it's very sort of a romantic, nice, quiet place, and lots of beautiful pottery. And your shop, of course, being two of the places that they can come see it. But we would definitely have several pieces of beautiful artwork for you to review tonight. And first thing we're going to do is a plate called Floral Plate. And this has some beautiful artwork in it. All of this is hand done?
That's right. It's freehand done, and I paint each piece with Chinese calligraphy brushes. It's a real versatile brush in that you can get a really fine point with it, but you can also shape it to form flower petals and leaves, and you can also saturate the brush with a lot of oxide or carbonate and do a lot of fill-in work.
Okay, now when you say the carbonate and the oxide, tell me a little bit about what that is. Right now I'm getting ready to measure the plate and let you know a little bit. It is approximately 1.5 inches deep if you were to set it down. It is about 11 inches across, so it's a nice size plate. It's a beautiful plate, definitely a piece of artwork and something that would go with several decors. The colors are muted just enough to blend in, but you still show up. And it's a nice deep. This is a plate that, if I were using it functionally, is it food safe?
Absolutely. All the pieces are food safe, microwave safe, and oven safe. And all the clays, glaze, and materials I use are designed for that purpose. However, a lot of people use them just for display.
Well, like I said, it's very decorative, and it will fit into a lot of different decors. You can see, you can turn it, but it also is functional. So if you wanted to have a set of them for, I can think of something that would have a sauce to it, like a spaghetti or a pasta or Alfredo. You can see, if I turn it up on the side, you can see how it's got a nice deep lip. So, but of course you wouldn't want to leave things sitting. You'd want to make sure to get it in the dishwasher. And we were talking earlier, you said dishwashing is actually better than hand cleaning for these.
Absolutely. Handmade pottery, we design our glazes and our clays to be as functional as possible, but we're not commercial industries with the R&D that goes into surfaces as much. And so the dishwasher environment is actually best because that environment really gets down into the fine little crazes and cracks in the glaze and gets out all the foodstuffs, and is actually a safer environment than hand washing, because you always run the risk of possibly breaking a piece while you're hand washing.
So if you're interested in this piece, contact Will, and that would be an item number MP001, a floral plate. It's $198. MP001 floral plate, and it's absolutely beautiful. But again, if you think that you're going to use it functionally, you're not taking care of the plate by hand washing it. You're actually doing a better job by dishwashing it.
Absolutely.
MP001, a floral plate, $198. And we're now got our second piece up here, and it is shrimp plate. So, and I see the 3 shrimp inside, and this also being hand done, but a little different technique it looks like. It feels like, the other one when you touch it has a textured feel, and this is smooth. So I take it this was done a little differently.
Yeah, the main difference in this piece from the other piece, historically speaking, the more intricate, deliberate style of painting on the floral piece we saw before was more in the tradition of Italian maiolica, and you use the brush differently. It's more deliberate, it's more sectioned out and organized, whereas this technique uses the Chinese calligraphy brush more the way it was designed to be used. Basically, it's a matter of shaping the calligraphy brush to form these parts of the shrimp. So this is one brush stroke. These are a series of brush strokes, and you can see how versatile the calligraphy brush is in that you can get these really fine lines for the antenna and the little arms and legs and little dots for their eyes and that sort of thing. And this is a much faster method of painting. The intention is to move in a quick fashion. Yep.
And this is you heard a minute ago we were talking about the one stroke. This right here up around the head of the shrimp, there's a stroke for that. Each segment in the tail, as you can see, let me get it where the light's hitting well, those segments are each one stroke. Okay, and if you're interested in this dish, this is the shrimp plate. This is number MP002, $126. A shrimp plate, MP002, $126. You can give Will a call at 336-879-3610 or an email at mccandless.pottery@yahoo.com. And that is the shrimp plate, MP002, $126. Okay, and we'll take a look at our next piece, which is a beautiful item. And you know, we talked about, I want to be very careful with this because it is not a light item either. You want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, this piece here is more in the tradition of the Italian maiolica that I mentioned earlier. During the Renaissance in Italy, there was a lot of really elaborately painted pieces that were inspired by Chinese porcelain that was coming in. Everybody wanted to try and reproduce the brilliant white look with decoration. But cultures like, in places like Italy didn't have the white clays. They had brown terracotta clay, so they came up with glazes that were white that they then painted on. And this is an original design of mine, but it takes in all the motif influences that I've been inspired by. So it ends up being kind of an eclectic hodgepodge of different ceramic painting cultures from around the world.
It's beautiful. And this you refer to as the floral platter. And this is number MP003. And this is $1,800. But explain to me what process, how long does it take you to get for an item of this size and of this detail from mud and clay to a work of art?
Yeah, a piece like this is going to take longer than most pottery, and the reason being is the handwork. Handwork in pottery includes not just brush decoration, but also techniques like sculpture, sgraffito, hand building, and these are the things that add on to the time spent on pieces as opposed to a piece of pottery that's just glazed and fired. When I do pieces like this, there's a good bit of conceptual time that goes into it pre-ever painting anything on the platter, and that's done on paper. When I feel like I have enough motif ideas that go cohesively well together, then I'll execute the painting onto the actual piece. So from start to finish, a piece like this is in the ballpark of 50 to 70 hours, with the bulk of that time being the execution of the painting.
Well, this is it's beautiful, and since everything, as you said earlier, is functional as well as beautiful, if you wanted to have it as a tray for a party, it certainly would add to the decoration. But it's nice and solid, so it's not a real flimsy piece. It's a good solid. It's a heavy piece, and the lip on it's about 1.5 inches high, and it's about 18 inches across. You said
That's right.
So it's a good size piece, and that is MP003, and it is $1,800. But the amount of, I can't imagine the amount of work and effort, just like you said, so many hours in it, and all of the brush strokes in it. You can see again, there's an awful lot of detail in it. You just got to see the little flowers around the edge. All of that detail work is done by hand. And so it's as with every other piece, it is signed on the back right here for McCandless Pottery. So it's definitely a beautiful, it's a large, heavy, beautiful piece of work. Lots of work in it. So if you would like to have something like that in your home, MP003, $1,800. It definitely is a work of art, though. If you put that on a shelf, it's commanding. It's going to get attention. It's large and it's solid, and the colors really pop.
Yeah, the intricacy is kind of what draws you in, and all the color. And when I do pieces like that, they're primarily display pieces that they may hang on a wall to display, similar to the way people would display oil paintings or watercolors. But they're great in mantelpieces, alcoves, anywhere you want to have an artistic piece where, as people come in, there's an emphasis pointed towards that area.
Okay, we'll look at our next piece. This is another plate, and this is the bird plate. You smile. You must like this one.
Yeah, I call this my sunbird, and it's an original design. Quite often what I do is inspired by various ceramic painting traditions. From all my exposure to those things, every now and again something will just pop in my head. And this has been really popular. There's a lot of design cues from the Middle East and Southern Europe back around the time of the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. And that's the time period in painting ceramics where I'm most inspired, and so I call this my sunbird. It's really popular in the store and one of my favorite designs.
And the number on that is MP004. It's a bird plate, $148. And again, you can reach Will at McCandlessPottery@yahoo.com. And you can also take a look at his website at www.mccandlesspottery.com, or phone number 336-879-3610. Okay, so this is the bird plate, MP004, $148. And Will, why don't you remind us again how we can reach you and where your shop is?
Sure, it's you can call me on the telephone at 336-879-3610, or you can email me at www.mccandless.pottery@yahoo.com. Also, you can check out my website at www.mccandlesspottery.com, and I have 2 locations in the Seagrove area.
Okay. Our next item that we're taking a look at is a bowl. We've previously been looking at plates, and now we're going to look at a bowl. This is a shrimp bowl. So it's got the similar techniques, I'm assuming, since it's got the similar painting on it. Now this bowl is about 3 inches high, so or 3 inches deep, whichever way you want to look at it. And it's approximately, let me see about how far across it is. We're looking at about 8 inches across. So it's a nice sized bowl. It would fit nicely on a shelf in a little niche somewhere. Again, your coloring is the sort of muted rose color. These are not real bright primary colors, but they are definitely bold enough to stand out and get attention. And this is MP005. It's a shrimp bowl. It's $66. And if you're looking to start collecting, or if you already have a collection and you'd like to make an addition to it, this is a great place to do that. This is a great piece that you can add to it. Like I said, it would pop out. There's a lot of different decors it would fit with. Oriental decors because of the shrimp theme and also the coloring. It also would be if you had sort of a beach. In North Carolina, there's a lot of areas with beaches in them. This is a great piece to put in if you have a beach theme or coastal. So it is MP005 Shrimp Bowl, $66. And when you're making a bowl, what's different between making a bowl and making the plate that makes it unique for you?
Well, starting as far as the turning pieces, there's a similar process with just about every piece. You're starting with a lump of clay you have to center. You then have to open the ball, and then as you open the ball, you're making determinations on what form you want. So plate forms, you're generally opening the ball and bringing the clay out flat, and then bringing up the edge so that you have kind of the border of it. Whereas bowls, you're starting differently. You have a smaller center that you're bringing out using pottery tools like wooden ribs, metal ribs that you use to kind of shape and mold the interior of the bowl as it's being turned. So for every piece you're doing in ceramics, there's a varying wheel turning technique and tools you have to use to accomplish those various forms.
Okay, this is MP005, the Shrimp Bowl, $66. Okay, we have another bowl here, and this is a fish bowl. And it's very simply named because it has 3 fish in it. And it has the green in it is a sort of a sea green and has a variety of shading in there, much like you would find in the ocean. And this is basically a 2-color bowl. Well, not basically, it is a 2-color bowl if you don't count white. It's a very pattern bowl. I notice that you've got the swirls in the bottom and the center as well. It's very geometrical as far as the triangular, and there's the circles. This has an awful lot of handwork in it, an awful lot. I can't imagine the amount of practice you must have to make all those scales a similar size and just really have command. I was noticing in the fishtails, it almost looks machine done because it is so exactly the same. And that just tells me that you've done hundreds of them. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Painting as many years as I have, and especially designs like this that have been really popular, there becomes a muscle memory, and it's almost an unconscious technique at this stage of the game, painting, say, the shrimp design and this fish design. And for me, as I look at this design, it doesn't look complicated to me at all, but it's just because I've done so many. But all these brush strokes, the squigglies on the border, the fish scales, these are really quick brush strokes with the Chinese calligraphy brush. And this piece I like a lot because it has a lot of kind of hybridization of Chinese motifs and also kind of a Greek fish motif. So I kind of like that kind of combo. As you look at it, you can't really say definitively it feels one or the other, but fish motifs in decorated ceramic traditions are very common, and this is my interpretation of a Greek and a Chinese fish design.
And I can see where it would fit with either type of motif and either type of decor. It is MP006 Fish Bowl, $66, and it's MP006, the fish bowl. You're right, because it's the same pattern over and over to just a regular person taking a look at it, and a person who doesn't do this type of thing, I can see where it looks simple, but the fact you have to make that paint stroke, that paintbrush stroke, over and over to make it consistent is not something I would think is easy.
Yeah, as I first started painting, things were pretty rough, just as you start with anything, but the repetition doing over the years, there's a precision that comes to it to where you don't even think about it anymore.
And how many years have you been doing it?
Well, my parents were potters when I was growing up, and my brothers and me all had our first potter exposure at the ages of 7, 8, and 9, so pretty much all our lives.
Pretty much, you can say there's a lot of experience there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's now if someone calls you up and they've selected an item and they want to add it to their home or their collection, tell us a little bit about how they've called you, they've picked it out. The next step for you is the shipping. So you want to fill us in a little bit about the shipping and handling, how you do that, so that they know when they order a piece, it's going to come to them just like they see it, and they're really going to get what they order.
Absolutely. Shipping is becoming more and more part of what Seagrow Potters do. Our web presences allow us to reach more customers more than ever, and shipping is something that Seagrow Potters are very experienced with, and you can rest assured that your pieces are going to be professionally packaged, and they're going to be safe. And I personally ship through the United States Postal Service. Every piece is insured, bubble wrapped, double boxed, and protected. And it's something we've become very savvy at.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you're used to it. Again, this is a fishbowl MP006, $66. Okay, and our next item here is another bowl, and this one is rabbit. Again, it's in the greens and the blues. We have a bright, I was going to say sunshiny because it's yellow and orange, a daffodil up at the top, and the bunny. It's a sort of an Easter theme with the flower and the bunny in it. And he's looking back over his shoulder, so you think he's running away from you?
It could be. I love this design. My folks had done decorated pottery when I was growing up, and this is the design they did. The original design was a Chinese design that looked very different from this. This has been adapted to be a little more whimsical by my father. The original Chinese rabbit and daffodil motif almost looked like a kind of almost like a fearsome rabbit, so we wanted to change that. But both the rabbit and the daffodil in Chinese culture are good luck symbols, and so even though this has kind of almost a whimsical aspect to it, its roots are in China.
And this is MP007 Rabbit Bowl, $66. MP007. This is like the other bowls we talked about. It's about 3 inches deep, and it's going to go for about 8 inches across. Again, each one of these pieces, when we say about 8 inches across, that's because this piece comes real close to being 8 inches, but everything is subject to be a little bit different because it's all hand done. It's all unique. So even though you may order 2 rabbit bowls, they're going to be just a little different because they're handmade. That makes the piece that you have in your hand when you purchase it yours and unique. And it's something very special in your home because nobody else in the world is going to have that exact piece. MP007 Rabbit Bowl, $66. It's almost like a child's design, and I say that because of the rabbit and because of the flower. It's a bright flower and it's a happy flower. It's a very happy scene. So yeah, if you change the rabbit, it definitely is not threatening anymore. It's a very pretty, bright, happy feeling with it. A happy plate, so to speak, or bowl. It's a rabbit bowl, MP007, $66. And again, you can reach Will at 336-879-3610. McCandless.pottery@yahoo.com. Let him know that you saw his pottery, what you liked about it, and let him know that you appreciate his work. He's got some beautiful pieces of art here. Our next set of pieces are red, and we're going to show you in a few minutes. Thank you. All of them. These pieces I can see going very easily in a Japanese decor against black lacquer furniture. the red seems to set the black off and sort of pop. Now it would go in a lot of different decors, not just the Japanese, but I sort of see that as Japanese just because of going so well with the black. You may have had other things in mind when you made them. Please share them with us if you did.
Yeah, the red in Seagrove has a really fantastic history, and I love the story behind it. In the 1920s in the Seagrove area was a time in America called the Arts and Crafts Movement. And basically that was kind of a nostalgia that Americans had for handmade goods that they had kind of lost due to the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution started producing a lot of factory-made goods, dinnerware included, because they were cheaper. And so functional pottery started to, or I should say handmade pottery, handmade items weren't as prevalent. Well, and going back to the arts and crafts movement in Seagrove, potters were still producing functional items there in the old hand ways because it was so remote and they didn't have as much of that influx of factory goods. But when people started flooding to Seagrove for the hand goods, the handmade pottery that is, they just didn't want just strict tableware and that sort of thing. They were interested in art pottery. And so the Seagrove potters, being very savvy, started studying Chinese pottery, European pottery. And this was an attempt by the early Seagrove potters to create a look that was very similar to a technique known as copper reduction that the Chinese had innovated. And one of the early trademark names of this glaze is Chinese Red. Now there's lots of trademark names for it now in Seagrove, mine being Seagrove Red. There's also Maraschino Red, Signature Red. These are trademark names used by various potteries in the area. But it has its traditions, its history at Jugtown Pottery, Ben Owen Pottery, Cole Pottery. And when I started doing this red, it was my way of kind of paying homage to Seagrove's tradition. It's the only thing I do that is a kind of a Seagrove glaze. The other techniques I do are European and Chinese largely, but this is not done in any way like Chinese copper reduction. This in fact is a very low fire glaze that incorporates lead and cadmium, selenium, and it gives you bright reds, orange reds at varying temperature ranges, and just a great history. And I love the glaze, I love red, and just love the history of it.
And this particular item is about 10 inches tall, and right down through here, through the thick part of it, it's about 6 to 6.5 inches in the bowl part. It's MP008 Seagrove Red Vase, $96. This one is MP008. It's one of 3 that you just saw put together. It's a beautiful, vibrant red. It's absolutely what I've also called is it has a more of a bluer influence, so it's not an orange red. It's a very true red, and it's a beautiful piece. And we're going to take a look at the second piece of the red pottery, which you saw just a minute ago. It's a little bit taller and not quite as wide. And this one is, this one's about 11.5 inches tall, and through the bowl, right through the middle in the bowl part is about 4 inches, 4.5 inches, something like that. That's a little bit lighter red. And this one is MP009 Seagrove Red Vase, $96. MP009. Now, when you get to the different shapes, I noticed that they're very different between the two of them. Which shape is actually harder to make? I mean, which one? Probably you've made them all enough to where they're second nature, but which one's more difficult? What are some of the things that?
Well, the most difficult vase forms, and I guess I should start by saying cylindrical vase forms are the most difficult forms we do in ceramics. And there's a couple of bowl forms that are difficult, especially the Asian shallow style bowls. but there's ways of making that easier by trimming. But generally speaking, you have more variety and complexity and form and shape when you're turning vases than anything else. And bottle forms are the most difficult for a couple reasons. Anytime you're moving a neck in, for instance, you're establishing kind of the depth of the piece, and then you're tucking it in and kind of moving it up, and all this, if you're not careful, can make the whole thing a little catawampus. But basically, the most difficult forms that are turned on a wheel are pieces that have narrow bottoms, that jut out really far, and then come back in to kind of a bottleneck, and then are flared out. So this form here is more difficult than the one previous. The easiest vessel forms are more cylindrical in nature, like almost looking like an old churn or a creamer. Those are the easiest pieces, because that's essentially opening up the ball of clay, pulling the walls, and just making minute adjustments to that piece. Whereas there's a lot more effort put into a bottle form than your vessel forms.
I can see where, as you said, you're sort of wonky. It's like you've got to get both sides even and get them together. But this is a beautiful piece. It's MP009. A Seagrove red vase, $96. And also, all the things that we've seen this evening, we've got another piece to come. But if somebody were to have a request, now certainly I know that you can't honor all the requests, but if they have something they're looking for, can they give you a call and say, can you do this for me?
Absolutely. A big part of our business in Seagrove is on a commission basis, where folks will come in and they'll request dimensions, colors that fit with an aspect of their home that they think will accentuate that aspect of their home. And it's very essential to have those orders in place, because our business in the Seagrove area is primarily seasonal, so it's important to have orders in place so that when you're not as busy with your seasonal traffic, you can focus on your orders and have those flowing to keep the bills paid and the lights on.
And this is a little bit smaller vase. This is the smaller of the three. Again, it's the Seagrove red vase. This one is MP010, excuse me, MP010, and it's $48. This one's a completely different shape from the other two. You want to tell me a little bit about this shape? You were talking about the bottle shape in the last one. We've got, this one is about 6.5 inches tall, and through the bowl portion of it is about, again, about 4 inches in this bowl section right through here. And you want to go ahead and just tell us a little bit about this shape, and we've got three very different shapes, and you've described the other two. So when making this, what are some of your concerns and some of the challenges?
Well, as you can see, kind of in the variety of vases that you've seen so far, I like a lot of variety. Vases are my favorite thing to turn, just because there's more ways to execute a vase in different ways than flatware, certainly. And I like the challenge of turning vases. I like the grace of narrow bottoms. I do a lot of bottle shapes just because I like bottle shapes. But the forms I do, I don't have a lot of forms that are in a Seagrove tradition. Typically, old Seagrove art pottery pieces will have wider bases to them and be more cylindrical in nature. But however, I do some of those as well. I just tend to like more elaborate forms better.
Well, like I said, these are beautiful together. They're also wonderful separate. This is MP010 Seagrove red vase, $48. And we can reach you, and they can reach you at www.mccandlesspottery.com. They can email you at mccandlesspottery@yahoo.com, and let me clarify, that's mccandless.pottery@yahoo.com. That's mccandless, one word, .pottery@yahoo.com. Or they can give you a call at 336-879-3610. And I'm sure that if they wanted to come down and see you, they can give you a call and find out what your hours are, get directions, that type of thing from you.
Absolutely. I'm open 6 days a week from 10 to 5, Monday through Saturday. So come on down and see me.
And I'm sure that you won't be disappointed. This is a very small sampling of some absolute beautiful artwork. And if you're looking to start a collection, if you're looking to add to a collection, and if you're looking to get into pottery, can you give some advice on what they can do to do that?
Yes, most community school programs, not just here in North Carolina, but around the country, will have ceramic programs, and that's a great place to start to kind of get your feet wet. As you move on from that, the more you're into it, there's craft schools around the country that teach various techniques in ceramics. Moving on from that, there are several potteries around the country, around the state, that offer apprenticeship programs where you're more hands-on every day. So there are plenty of opportunities for anyone that's interested in clay to get themselves involved.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. We also would like to hear from you, and we would like to talk with you. If you have anything that you want to add to suggestions, if you want to let us know how you liked or disliked the show, either one, we would welcome that. Give us an email at info@thepotterychannel.com, one word, The Pottery Channel. And you can also visit us on our website at www.thepotterychannel.com. Drop us a line on email if you want to have the opportunity, you're in the area and you want to come see us. You can come see us as well. Like I said, just give us a call, drop us an email, and we'll be glad to. You can give us a call at 336-460-0544. Love to hear from you. Like to hear what you think of the show. And by all means, feel free to give a call to McCandless Pottery. I'm sure we'll love to hear from you. So thank you very much and have a good evening.